Iraqi President Saddam Hussein was ousted and arrested by American and British governments. Might there have been any connection between this event and his invasion and occupation of Kuwait? If we regard this event as a result, then can we say that his incursion into Kuwait was the cause? Surely it is not the only one. But if the cause of the invasion of Kuwait had not happened, then would the effect have not taken place? Is there any connection between the toppling of New York's World Trade Center in the United States and the hardline foreign affairs policy of its government? If the bombing could be seen as an effect, then can the United States' hardline policy be seen as the cause? Of course, it was not the only cause. Why did Hitler kill so many Jews? Why did the Japanese invade China? Why did the Crusades happen? Were there no causes for these? Why did sandstorms occur in northern China? Why did the SARS and bird flu viruses emerge? Why do rivers overflow? Are there no causes for these? Why is the United States so prosperous in spite of its short, 200-year history, while China had remained poor and backward for much of its long, 5,000-year history? Why is Europe so developed while Africa is not? Are people admitted to doctoral courses overnight, or are they admitted because of their natural endowments, family and social environments, and hard work? If someone suffers a heart attack, does it occur out of the blue, or is it a product of their medical history and mental and psychological state? Could somebody feel a sudden headache, stomach ache, or angina attack without any reason? If someone gets into a car crash, is stabbed by a person wielding a knife, or collapses, are there no causes for these? Some people are able to stay in 5-star hotels, while others can only lodge in cheap inns or even sleep on the streets. Are there no reasons? Some people are born into wealthy families, and some are born into poverty. Are there no reasons for this? The trajectory and free will of life. Xiefeng. Translated by Transin and edited by Care. There are many times more stars in the sky than people on Earth. Each star floats along its own orbit around the galaxy, and each orbit is determined and is not its free choice. Life also has its track. Birth, growth, aging, and death is our inescapable course. 18. Properties cannot be self-managed within life's track. If we make a detailed search and analysis, we can see that each detail on life's track is predetermined, including our name, temperament or character, words and actions, who we will encounter, what we will suffer, what diseases we will succumb to at each stage of life, when the end will come, and so on. Here is the question. Since our life trajectory and its details are already predestined, do people have free will or not? And if they do have free will, how then is it manifested? There is no doubt that people have free will. It is precisely this free will that causes the hesitation, trouble, agony, fear, and sadness in life. The universe is one. The universe is holographic. The universe is a big play. Everything that happens in human society is a single episode of the big play of the universe. Everyone is an actor on this big stage of life and performs in strict accordance with a predetermined plot, and is playing their role in this prescribed scenario. The hesitations, troubles, agonies, fears, sadness, and other psychological feelings in life result from the conflicts and contradictions between each person's free will and their role in the play. You are asked to play a mouse, but your free will wants you to play an elephant. You are asked to live in a thatched cottage, but your free will wants you to live in a 5-star hotel. You are asked to cooperate and serve a certain person, but you attempt to make them cooperate and serve you. You are asked to grow vegetables, but you hope to make a spaceship. You are asked to do good or evil, but you choose to do the opposite, and so on. This is the conflict between your role in the play and your free will. Whenever the arrangement of the play is contradicted by free will, hesitation, trouble, agony, anxiety, fear, worry, and sadness will take over. If your free will agrees with the arrangement of the plot, you will feel peace, joy, happiness, and blessings in your heart and feel free. The highest realm of self-refinery and self-improvement requires you to eliminate your self-persistence and to become free from ego. It is only in this way that you can unite with Tao. Then, when you do that, you will attain the spiritual state of an immortal. Here is another question. Since everything is predestined, what is the value and meaning of struggling and making efforts? First, The so-called struggling and making efforts are barely more than nonsense. When a program is determined, the role to be played is determined and one's so-called struggles and efforts are determined. That is, you will have to struggle and make efforts because a series of things will force you to. It is decided by the non-material structure of your life. Your character and temperament will force or encourage you to struggle and make efforts. This is determined by the self-state. It is not that I want to struggle and make efforts, but my character and the things happening around me and their ramifications prompt me to do so. This is described as, many things are not in charge of our hands in this world. Every person yearns for a better future and to go to heaven, so who can eventually achieve their most beautiful dreams? Also, now that everything is predestined, what is the point of personal yearning? This involves some of the programs of the play of the universe. The play of the universe has destiny and variables. The plot of the play is destiny. Who shall play which characters in the play are variables. If you play well, you can constantly play the role more according to your free will, such as to play in heaven. If you play badly, you will play a role more deviated from your free will, such as to play a demon in hell. Who then will go to heaven? Anyone who can play the role in accordance with the established plot of the play, free from self-persistence and free from ego, will go to heaven, but anyone who has conflicts with the arranged plot, that is, whose self-conscious is too strong and is unwilling to play the role, will end up in hell. We can find such a secret from this. Going to heaven or hell has nothing to do with the role you play, but everything with how well you play it. For instance, from most people's perspective, Adolf Hitler should definitely be in hell, but from the plot of the play of the universe, if he played his part very well, he would be in heaven. No matter what your role is, an emperor or a thief, as long as you play it well, your reward will be to go to heaven. If you do not play it well, you will be doomed to reside in hell. So, how does one know whether they are playing well or not? Here is a very simple validation method. Namely, no matter what role you play, be it one with much pain and suffering or one that enjoys happiness and pleasure, be it a role to ride the whirlwind or one to suffer the commonplace. If you can stay calm, be happy and joyful, free from hesitation, trouble, agony, anxiety, worry, and fear, but with gratitude, then you have played well. Otherwise, you will have failed the role. Those who have mastered the essence of the teachings and instructions of Buddha understand that self-persistence is the biggest obstacle to the Elysium world. Self-persistence is the result of a strong free consciousness. If you do everything according to your own ideas and wishes, if you always believe that yours is a just cause, if you always insist on your own views, if you always know that you are right, then you cannot play the arranged plot of the play very well, and you will be miserable and unable to be rewarded with the Tao of heaven. Take things as they are. Associate with others by following your predestined relationships. Acting in accordance with your nature and taking advantage of opportunities is the best way to play the role. The Evolution of Life. Xiefeng. August 16, 2005. Translated by Transin. Life is a non-material structure with spirituality, and its evolution is based on changes of the life body's material structures, which does not mean the visible material flesh, but the microscopic material structure of the flesh. There are not many differences among people's physical bodies and shapes, so we can be led to believe that everyone is nearly the same, but there are actually many differences among different people in the microscopic structures of human bodies. The Buddha's relics left behind after some eminent monk's death are obvious examples. We cannot see the tiny changes of these microscopic material structures because the motion and changes of the microscopic world cannot be seen directly and clearly. If we judge the subtle changes of life structures by our experiences and cognitions in our daily lives, then we can never understand the evolution of life. The evolution of life is a gradual changing process. Without gradual changes, the motions and changes of material does not exist at all. Everything is changing constantly, and as long as these changes continue, the microscopic structures of the materials will keep evolving. The gains and losses of the electrons and atoms generate the disintegration and recombination of molecules. All the changes of material microscopic structures need effects from either internal or external forces. Applying this law to people, The internal force is the mental activity or the thinking and conscious activities such as the psychological activity caused by the seven emotions and six sensory pleasures of joy, anger, grief, depression, and the others, and the external force might be sunshine, sound waves, magnetic forces, heat, coldness, and others. There are specific corresponding motion states between any pair of molecules. Some molecules, such as limestone and water, react violently to each other, but others, such as water and oil, are not nearly reactive. This means that all the motions and changes of matter have to observe their laws. A lustful man's blood will surge, his heartbeat will accelerate, his palms will sweat, and his speech will become uncoordinated when he sees a sexy, underclad woman. However, his body will not produce any such reaction from seeing a pig, not even a sexy one that is lactating. Life's evolution progresses in the following ways. In the case of people, as long as there are small movements of internal and external forces, human bodies are likely to produce corresponding changes of composition and decomposition at the microscopic level. Then, after those changes, their corresponding life non-material structures will change accordingly. The tiny changes of non-material structures represent the evolution of life. When these tiny advances accumulate to a certain amount and reach saturated conditions, then the non-material structure of the whole life will reach a stable state on another level, and then another life structure will begin to evolve. One example is that when the atomic structure of a person obtains electrons continually and the amount eventually reaches 900, added to their intrinsic 100, their non-material structure as person will disintegrate, and they will have taken a qualitative leap and attained the non-material structure of a celestial being. At this very moment, they will have reached death as a human being but be born as a celestial being. Another example is when the atomic structure of a person continually loses electrons. We can suppose that they lose 6 electrons for publicizing ghosts and monsters and polluting people's spirituality, for electrons for concocting various pretexts to force someone to bribe, 3 electrons for taking pleasure in other people's misfortune and ruining their success, 2 electrons for destroying mountains and woodlands, digging grasses, and filling ponds, 2 electrons for passing the buck to self-hold and shift their misfortune onto others, 1 electron for envying others' honor and high status and expecting others of falling in bad luck, and finally 1 electron for beating their spouse and nagging their sons and breaching etiquette toward elder family members. At this point, they will have lost 19 electrons in total. The number of their electrons remaining will only be 81. 100 minus 19 is equal to 81. At this moment, the structure of their life will be approaching that of a dog, and if they lose 1 more electron, then they will die immediately and reincarnate as one because their life structure as a human being will have degraded to that level, and they will no longer be able to exist as a person. This is why some people die suddenly in their youth, others die suddenly in car accidents, and still others die suddenly from heart attacks. Their number of electrons reaches the number of a higher or lower life structure at that moment, and they, in whatever way, have to begin a new life journey. Some aged people suffer for prolonged periods of time with illnesses in beds. This is because their number of electrons is changing too slowly, and in such situations they should not linger in the human world, but try to start their new journey ASAP. The bad solution would be to curse others, blaspheme the gods and Buddha, and abuse children. The good solution would be to wish for world peace, pray for everyone could live a happy and blessing life. May those who used to hurt them enjoy happy futures, and long to go to the Elysium world themselves. They had better invite people who have good knowledge of 36-dimensional space, life transmigration theory to interpret the details and sceneries of higher-level life spaces in order to help them forget about their merits and demerits in this life, rid all of their sufferings in this mortal world, let go of all their unfulfilled wishes, and start a new journey with neither worries nor regrets. Occasionally, at the moment of a life's reincarnation, special situations occur. For example, someone's number of electrons might have reached the number needed for a new life structure, but their new life, home, has not yet become ready. They have to put up with it and wait temporarily, usually for less than a month. This is just like a person who wants to move, but their new house is not ready to accommodate them, so they have to remain in their old one for a short time. Where is the new residence? The new residence refers to the anode black hole body in 36-dimensional space, namely the womb. When a fetus enters into the womb, it becomes a new residence. From time immemorial, people have always thought of fetuses as lives, but they are actually not. Fetuses are just residences, not lives. Fetuses will not be lives until a reincarnated life enters into this residence through a space tunnel in 36-dimensional space. Generally speaking, a fetus will have life within only a few days before the baby is born, but some fetuses will be born a few days later than the expected date of childbirth because no life has entered into this residence quite yet. The number of humans on the Earth is increasing quickly because the number of animals is decreasing proportionally. A large number of animals that have been killed by people have made great contributions to humans and have accumulated merits and virtues. As a result, these animals will reincarnate as humans, but the vast majority of people have not killed animals, so they cannot reincarnate as animals after they die. Therefore, the diminished number of animals will not be replenished in time. If such situations continue, the ecological system's balance will be broken and humans may face the greatest calamity at any time. There are 3 ways to correct such an imbalance. People could evolve towards the high-level life space and go to the 1,000-year world and the 10,000-year world so as to reduce their numbers. People could self-awaken. They need to control the continuous growth of their population, protect and let animals reproduce and develop, and transfer some people forcibly down to the animal level in order to maintain the ecological balance. Those people who are forcibly transformed downward will certainly be treated unjustly, but do not worry for them because the greatest creator will deposit large stocks of wealth in their banks, and when the ecological balance stabilizes, they will be reborn back into the human world with high positions and great wealth as compensation. If the above 2 solutions do not work, then the third one will come. Pestilence, war, and starvation will eliminate some people so as to relieve the ecological imbalance. Apart from that, there is a special solution: the coming of the last phase of an age, which was warned by Jesus and Sakyamuni. In that situation, every phenomenon in heaven will vibrate, the sun will blacken, the moon will no longer illuminate, and everyone will be scared to death. The emergence of Life Genuine is to enlighten people to avoid the coming of the last phase of the age. Gods and Buddhas are humane, and the greatest creator loves humanity. Now, so much about the evolution of life. You will have to figure the rest out for yourself. All scientists, philosophers, thinkers, and statesmen are welcome to join in this discussion and argue whether I am correct. If you do not agree, fine. Just continue to carry on in your old lifestyles. New Understanding on the Life and Death of Life. Xiefeng. April 3, 2011. Translated by Transin. The issues of life and death with regard to life do not exist. The only issue is that of conversion. So-called life and death are only false appearances which have mistaken the existence and disappearance of the carriers of life for those of life itself. It is a misunderstanding of life to say that it is born or dies. Since people do not understand the whole truth of life and its length, they define it mistakenly by way of their limited vision. Morning bacteria have no idea of the first and last days of months. Cicadas are unaware of spring and fall. Bacteria that emerge in the morning and die in the evening have no experience of what days are like. Cicadas that are born in spring and die in fall cannot understand the passage of seasons. Butterflies who fly and dance among flowers will never know the existence of winter. Humans cannot see the past or future, so humans always measure the length and depth of life against the more transient life. How do we react to morning bacteria saying that there are no dark nights? What do we think when cicadas say that there is no spring or fall? How do we feel when people tell us that there are no previous or future lives? People often talk about life and death by saying that someone is born or has died. Actually, what they refer to is only the birth, growth, and death of their flesh, the carriers of lives, not their life. Therefore, it is necessary to redefine the life and death of life. A person's downward conversion from the human world to a lower life space is death. A person's horizontal transmigration back to the human world is half-death. A person's upward conversion from the human world to a higher life space is life. More specifically, a person is dead if they transmigrate to the plant world, the animal world, hell, the frozen layer, or the inflamed layer. A person is half dead and half alive if they transmigrate back to the human world. A person gains life if they advance toward any of the 3 levels of heaven, the 1,000-year world, the 10,000-year world, or the celestial islands continent of the Elysium world. It is up to everyone to choose for themselves whether they go to death, half-death, or life. Hence, we can see that some people are marching downward, some are lost on the road, and some are proceeding to a more wonderful rebirth. Trustworthiness is the quality of high-level life. Jiefeng. Credit is the invisible wealth in a person's life. If it goes bankrupt, then the level of their life declines. To measure whether a person's life is at a high level, just look at their credibility. If they are trustworthy, then their life must be at a high level. If they are not, then it must be at a low level. We can judge a person's future accurately from the level of their trustworthiness. If a country's leader does not keep his word, then that country will fall into decline. If the leader of an enterprise fails to keep his promises, then that company will go bankrupt eventually. If an individual does not keep their word, then they will play many small tricks and can never be trusted throughout their lifetime. When associating with people, we should first determine whether they are trustworthy. If they break their promise only once, then we should not trust them any longer because a leopard cannot change its spots, and this person will definitely disappoint you a second, third, and every time. In our lives, we can afford to lose anything but our credit. Once that is lost, our value will be totally lost. Therefore, it is better to lose everything, including your life, than to lose your credit because once you lose that, you will never have much chance of going to heaven. How a person's quality is does not depend on their ability, wisdom, wealth, or status, let alone their looks. It depends on their trustworthiness. If they do not keep their promises, then their quality must be poor. If they stick to their credit, then their quality must be excellent. High-level life must be trustworthy life, but low-level life must be untrustworthy life. If a person is not trustworthy, then their life quality is inferior to that of a dog. Therefore, trustworthiness is one's first line of defense in life, and once it is broken, then their life will collapse across the board. Everything just matches you. Jiefeng. Your current situation is the manifestation of the quality of your life. I have observed the states of life on earth and in heaven and hell, and have found that everything is appropriate, with neither rewards nor punishments, and that what you receive now is what you are pursuing and is being caused by what you have said and done in the past. Divine punishments, though slow, are always sure, with big meshes, yet letting nothing slip through. The law of causality always works perfectly. Do not ask for anything because it will not be given to you that way. Ultimate Tao cannot be attained by active pursuit. The only feasible way to achieve your wish is to match the quality of your life with the things you aspire to. If you want to go to heaven, then burning incense and kowtowing to worship the Buddha every day, giving master alms of money, real estate, or gifts will not help. Even if you have built many monasteries and preached the scriptures to many people or have gained magical powers through self-cultivation, none of these things will help you to achieve your goal. The only way to do that is to match the quality of your life with life in heaven. When matched, gods and demons cannot block your way. If not matched, the most noble and authoritative people cannot help you. Do not resent anyone because you have brought all of those people who you resent to yourself, and resentment can only make your life more miserable. Do not say that the law of heaven is unjust. It is fair, but it is your own heart that is unjust. What one has created will return to themselves intact. If you create beauty, then beauty will come back to you. If you create ugliness, then ugliness will stick with you. If you have not seen the image of heaven clearly, if you do not understand the life state of the life in hell, and if you do not understand the books without words, then do not preach to others. What you preach is nothing more than the principles of being a human being, and those preaching cannot sublimate and ascend people to heaven. So from the perspective of a higher level of life, you are doing evil. The more you preach, the thicker and stronger the evil barriers that you create will become. The theory of flies is never suitable for bees to obey, and the theory of sheep cannot stop the wolf from eating you no matter how profound and correct your theory is. In the human world, apart from the teachings of Jesus, Shakyamuni, Lao Tzu, Muhammad, PBUH, and Bodhidharma, no one has ever spoken much truth. So if you think that your own quality, wisdom, and spirituality have surpassed gods, Buddhas, and celestial beings, you can preach as much as you like. If not, closing your mouth is tantamount to accumulating blessings for yourself. Otherwise, the more you preach, the more harm you will do. Do not defend your wrong words and deeds because the more you defend them,